The final shape has brought in a lot of cool exotics, and Titans have one of the coolest neutral game exotics that I've seen in a while, and it actually performs extremely well. So if you want to bombard your enemies with missiles and buff all rocket damage across the board, check out this build. Let's not waste any time and dive right into it. The exotic armor you're going to need is the new Hazardous Propulsion chest piece. Now with this perk, Danger Close, weapon precision hits or final blows have a chance to load a kinetic Exodus rocket. Activating your class ability fires loaded Exodus rockets, damaging targets with Exodus rockets temporarily increases the damage you deal with all other rockets. The description is pretty self-explanatory, but for more insight, scoring a precision kill, 4 weapon kills, or scoring multiple precision hits grants a stack of the Exodus rocket, and that can stack up to 6 times. Each rocket can deal up to 600 kinetic damage, and hits with each rocket grant a stack of what's called enhanced rockets for 10 seconds, increasing rocket type damage. So the main thing is you want to hit as many rockets as you can to gain the highest buff. And lastly, which is probably the coolest part, is that it's not just rocket launchers that can benefit from the perk. It's also Wolfpack rounds from both Gjallarhorn and the Ergo Sumsword, any rocket-assisted sidearms, any weapon that could come with the Nanotech Tracer Rockets Origin Trait perk, the Grand Overture's Missile Volley, and lastly, Quicksilver Storm's Tracer Rockets. All of those can benefit from the extra damage from Hazardous Propulsion. Now going over the subclass, you can honestly use anything that you like here, whether you want to use the Prismatic subclass or not. Like I said, this is a neutral game exotic. The main thing is that the weapon kills and precision hits give the bonus to the exotic. So as long as you have your subclass set up how you like and you have decent survivability, ability regen and whatnot, you are pretty much set here. But since Prismatic is the new subclass, let's talk about what I like using and give you some options. So again, the main thing is talking about the class ability, because that is tied to the exotic. I personally like Thruster because it has the fastest cooldown in comparison to the Barricades, but I understand depending on the activity, you might want the Barricade to give you some cover, so you can use what you like here. For the rest of your abilities and aspects, you can honestly use what you like. One thing I do like is Frenzy Blade overall, because you do get 3 melees, it does sever targets and create tangles, which under the artifact, you can take advantage of something like Threaded Blast. So if you destroy a tangle with a strand weapon, it creates a larger and more damaging explosion, and the AoE from that is just absolutely insane. Unbreakable is pretty good as well, especially in tougher activities. If you need to pop the shield to give you some overshield and have the frontal blast, I think that is totally fine as well. If you want to switch it out for something like Consecration, so you have 3 slams with Frenzy Blade, you put on something like the Glacier Grenade with that and change one of the fragments to Facet of Ruin, so you have a bigger AoE explosion with both of those. I think that's totally fine. I do highly recommend Knockout overall, because any melee kill is going to make you amplified. That is the main portion, and it's going to give you health back as well. But once you're amplified, you can take advantage of Galvanic Armor on the artifact. So when you have that Prismatic subclass equipped, incoming damage from combatants is reduced while amplified. But like I said, for most of your abilities and whatnot, you can switch out what you like. Out of the 21 fragments though, there are 4 that I would highly recommend that you use no matter how you set this up. Number 1, Facet of Hope. While you have any elemental buff, your class ability regenerates more quickly, and again, the exotic is based off the class ability, so we definitely want that as much as possible. Next is Facet of Balance. Rapidly defeating targets with light damage grants melee energy, and rapidly defeating targets with darkness damage grants grenade energy. It's good ability regen overall, and we definitely want to take advantage of that as much as possible. Next is Faster Protection. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. While Transcendent, the effect is increased. It's a plus 10 to strength. Again, more survivability here when we're near targets. And then Facet of Purpose. I really like this one. So when you pick up an Orb of Power, it's going to give you a buff depending on what super you're using. And overall, I would highly recommend the Blade Fury super, because it's going to be good for crowd control. But also, when you pick up an Orb of Power, you're going to gain Woven Mail, which is more damage resistance. Or if you want to use the new super Twilight Arsenal, I'd highly recommend that one as well, because when you pick up an Orb of Power, it's going to give you that overshield. Then you can switch out Unbreakable for Consecration. But to be honest, any of the supers would work here. I just personally would recommend Blade Fury or Twilight Arsenal. For your last fragment, I do like Facet of Sacrifice, but to be honest, you can switch it out for any other fragments depending on how you want to build into it. To be honest, there really isn't a bad option to choose from here. Now for your other artifact perks, in the first column, which is all about weapon champion mods, you can use what you like. In the second column, it's all about giving bonuses to the current origin trait perks for last season's and this season's weapons. And I would highly recommend putting on Overcharged Armory and Winning Hand, because there are weapons that fall into these categories. In the third column, I do like Elemental Siphon. So rapid final blows with a kinetic weapon or a weapon matching your super will create an elemental pickup that matches your equipped super. And in this case, I am rocking the Strand super, so I can create a Tangle, which again, Threaded Blast can take advantage of. In the fourth column, I do have Counter Energy, which is good for champions, but you can switch this one out. Outside of Galvanic Armor, though, Radiant Orbs is a big one, so while I have that Prismatic subclass equipped, picking up an Orb of Power makes you Radiant, which again, you can pop Anti-Barrier Champions, get the weapon bonus, and it counts as a light buff, which we definitely want to take advantage of. And in the last two columns, I do like Shield Crush, so while you have Woven Mail, Frost Armor, or a Void Overshield, your melee recharges faster and deals increased damage, and while you're Amplified or Radiant, your Grenade recharges faster and deals increased damage. This is good overall. And then I do like Transference, so gain increased grenade and melee damage while Transcendent, weapon final blows while Transcendent, refund light and dark energy after Transcendence ends. For your weapon options, you can honestly use what you like, but obviously we want to take advantage of the list of weapons that I mentioned earlier that all have the bonus to the rocket portion. So I do like having Quicksilver Storm as my primary because the micro rockets can take advantage of it. It is strand and it can create tangles with the catalyst, so we could take advantage of Thread Blast with that. Plus, the grenade launcher mode does a decent amount of damage. And then pairing that with something like Indebted Kindness, I love this sidearm. This thing is fantastic. I have Beacon Rounds with Volt Shot, and with the Sundering Origin Trait perk, if I destroy a vehicle, construct, or break a target shield, it grants the weapon bonus reload and charge rate, plus Overcharge Armory gives it pretty much overcharge all the time, which is very good. And then lastly, I'm using the Hothead Adept here with auto-loading Explosive Light just to match up with my arc weapons. Another kinetic weapon option would be the Call. Again, this is the new rocket-assisted frame sidearm from the Pale Heart. Its Origin Trait perk, which is Dealer's Choice, can take advantage of both Overcharge Armory and Winning Hand, which is pretty cool. On mine in particular, I have it crafted. I have Enhanced Slice and Desperate Measures. This thing hits like a truck. It's absolutely disgusting. For other energy weapon options, like I said, the Ergo Sum with Wolfpack rounds can benefit from this. So if you're doing an encounter with your team that requires swords and you want to use the sword with Wolfpack rounds, you could take advantage of the bonus damage and also benefit your team with the Wolfpack rounds with swords. I've also heard Buried Bloodline can benefit from the Exodus Rocket bonus damage, which is cool. Again, landing bolts leeches health from the target. Hard launch, flared magwell, hand laid stock. Then we have Violent Reanimation, multiple final blows. With this weapon, grant Devour to the wielder. Again, with Devour, as long as you keep getting kills, you'll get full health and bonus grenade energy back, which is cool. And with the Catalyst, while Devour is active, this weapon weakens on hit. And the reason that's important, if you decide to use it on the artifact, Void Hegemony, while you have the Prismatic subclass equipped, defeating weakened targets provides a small Void Overshield, and with Expanding Abyss, Void sources deal increased damage to weakened targets. So that is a way to have good survivability and bonus weapon damage with Buried Bloodline. And like I said, any weapon that can come with the Nano Tracer Rocket's Origin Trait perk can also benefit from it. Again, it's pretty much any of the Neomuna weapons and the Epichal Integration hand cannon. In the heavy slot, like I said, I'm using Hothead to match up with Indebted Kindness, so I can take advantage of some armor mods here. But I do have Apex Predator. Again, this thing is a fantastic rocket launcher. And apparently we're getting a solar rocket-assisted sidearm in the future. So when that comes out, I'll probably pair that up with Apex Predator to have the solar damage bonuses and whatever I can get on the armor mods. But like I said, Gallahorn can also benefit from it with the Wolfpack rounds portion, and also Grand Overture's Volley. So if you decide you want to use Grand Overture, depending on what activity you're doing, and having the volley of missiles, this thing can benefit from it as well. Before diving into armor mods, let's talk about what stats you want to focus on. First up being Resilience. We talk about that every video. Try to have tier 10 100 Resilience. It's a 30% damage reduction. Plus, Resilience is also tied to the Titan class ability cooldown. So the higher Resilience we have, the faster we can get the class ability back to take advantage of the Exotics perk. Next, I do like Discipline. Discipline is tied to how fast we can get the grenade back, and obviously we want to spam our abilities as much as possible as well. Next, I would focus on Strength. That is tied to the melee, but after that, you can do Intellect if you'd like, but the main portion here is definitely have Resilience at max. On the helmet, I do like Harmonic and Arc Siphon, so my Strand and Arc Weapon Final Blows can generate Orbs of Power. Again, just match these up with whatever weapons you decide to use so you can create orbs. And then I'd highly recommend either Special Ammo Finder or Heavy Ammo Finder. On the gauntlets, I'm using Impact Induction, so when I cause damage with my powered melee, it reduces my grenade cooldown. And with Bolstering Detonation and Focusing Strike, when I deal damage with my grenade and melee, it grants class ability energy. On the chest piece, I do like Arc Reserve, so I can have more ammo for both Indebted Kindness and Hothead. But again, you can match this up with whatever weapon types that you're using. And for resistance mods, you can put on what you like depending on the activity you're doing. On the boots, I do like recuperation, so I get health back each time I pick up an orb of power, and then I'm rocking double arc weapon surge, so my arc weapons can gain a small bonus to damage while I have any armor charge. Your armor charge now decays over time. Essentially, when you collect orbs of power, you'll get armor charges. With this build, you can have a max of 3 armor charges, and with any of these blue mods, it puts a 10-second timer on one of the armor charges. So at 3 armor charges, we can have 30 seconds of bonus weapon damage. And lastly on the class item, I like having Reaper, so when I use my class ability, if I get a weapon kill within 10 seconds, that'll spawn an orb of power. Next, with Powerful Attraction, it'll automatically collect nearby orbs of power when I activate my class ability, so that means I can proc recuperation, have Facet of Purpose kick in for a Woven Mail if I'm using the Strand Super, and gain armor charges. And then lastly, I like Bomber, so it reduces my grenade cooldown when I use my class ability. If I'm being totally honest, initially I did not think this exotic was going to perform as well as it did. When I saw the preview, I was like, damn, this is a very cool exotic, but how good are the rockets going to be? The rockets in and of themselves deal really good damage, and with the weapon options that I gave you, as long as you continue to get weapon kills or precision hits, by the way, hitting a lot of precision hits very quickly charges up Exodus rockets very fast, so keep that in mind. But as long as you continue to get weapon kills and use your abilities in tandem, you can pretty much have the rockets all the time, use your class ability constantly, and have bonus weapon damage to pretty much any weapon on the list that I gave you. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I call my Rocket Man Titan build. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm actually going to put the dim link for this build in the description, so if you want to copy everything that I'm using, down to the subclass, the armor mods, the weapons, even the drip if you like, that'll include shaders and ornaments as well, so if you want to copy the look, definitely go for it. But test this build out for yourself and come back to this video and let me know what you like using. Like I said, for the subclass, you can use pretty much whatever you like. Certain weapons gain the bonuses, so go out there and launch missiles. In any event, if you enjoyed watching, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on any other final shape builds I'm going to be dropping here on the channel. If you didn't know, we live stream here on YouTube and then also over on Twitch. Again, there's going to be the Salvation's Edge raid, there's going to be the new activity to get the exotic class items, the co-op mode, there's going to be plenty of stuff to do, so if you want to hop in for any of that, again, hop in the chat, and then also, if you want to be proactive, join my Discord. Again, people are going to be looking to play activities together, so hop on in. We're also talking about anime, tech, and plenty of other games as well. Lastly, if you want to help support the channel even more so I can continue making this content for you guys, you can always look into becoming a member. If you don't know what a membership is, it's essentially like a Twitch subscription. Again, you're going to get access to the emotes, the monthly badges, and the big thing, which is getting early access to all of my videos. So if you want to look into becoming a member, all you have to do is press the join button, next subscribe, and that'll give you a rundown with all the details you need. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been your boy. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!